And all right, should be good. Go ahead.
We're good.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Welcome to our November 23rd, 2020 City Council meeting. If we could please stand for Pledge of the Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if I could ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Okay, Councilman Gary Donovan,
Councilman Garrett, Councilman at Large, there.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor,
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large here.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky,
She looks like she may be having internet trouble.
Councilman William X. Conlon,
Councilman William X. Conlon, present, 2nd District.
Councilwoman Liz Johnston,
Councilwoman Liz Johnston, 3rd District, present.
Councilman Mitchell Galagnano,
Councilman Mitch Galagnano, 4th District, present.
Councilwoman Robin Hamilton,
Councilwoman Robin Hamilton, 5th District, present.
Councilman Peter Massaro,
Councilman Peter Massaro, 6th District, present.
Councilwoman Trinae McGee,
Councilwoman Trinae McGee, 7th District, present.
Councilwoman Crystal Finelli,
Councilwoman Crystal Finelli, 8th District, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno,
Councilman Robert Bruno, 9th District, present.
Councilman Barry Lee Cohen,
Councilman Barry Lee Cohen, 10th District, present.
and Chairman Ron Quagliani.
Ron Quagliani, Council at Large, present.
Okay, we are all here.
Thank you, Stace. Okay, before we enter into public session, point of information, communication C from the 11/9/2020 agenda has been withdrawn. And also, if we could take a minute to remember two individuals that have passed this past week that have served our city well. First is Joanne Mapes. Joanne was an administrative assistant for the Republican Registrar of Voters for over 20 years of service in that office. And also for Art Ferris. Art was an employee of the city of West Haven for 42 years. He was the Commissioner of Public Works, and he retired in 2004 from that position. So if we could take a minute to remember both of them here this evening. Thank you. Okay, first up is public input. I believe we do have a letter to be read. So Stacey, if you'd read the letter into the record.
Okay, we have a letter. Good evening. As some of you already know, the largest of the 3 pollinator gardens that were recently installed at the Brent Watt Park was destroyed last week, and the 2 smaller gardens there were trampled. All gardens were marked with signs identifying them as pollinator pathway sites. These sites were created with a great deal of volunteer time and labor, as well as with plants funded by residents, contributions, and matching funds from the Sustainable Connecticut. The destruction of the beds occurred in connection with installing electrical service to the Brentwatt Park by UNH. As we understand it, the city, UNH, and UI were all supposed to meet to determine where the service would be placed. Councilwoman Hamilton was assured that nothing would be done without her okay, but she never signed off on the placement of the service, nor were either Chairman Quagliani nor Tom McCarthy informed that the work was being done. In spite of not receiving approval, contractors installed the service by trenching the site through the largest garden and destroying the pollinator pathway signs. At the time of my writing of this, we are not clear as to who hired the contractors who did this. Our purpose in bringing this to the council's attention is to urge you to request damages from either the contractors or whoever hired them. The over 120 native plants and plugs that were installed in October were carefully tended to so as to become established for significant growth in the spring. That benefit is now lost. Because most of the plants have entered dormancy, we do not know how many of the additional 90 some odd plants that were installed in the smaller beds have also been destroyed. Speaking on behalf of all the contributors to the Pollinator Pathway Initiative and all those who did the preparing, planning, planting, and caretaking of the site, we believe the responsible parties should pay to restore the bed, including installing replacement plants. If the replacement plants cannot be sourced now, we need sufficient funding for plants and installation in the spring. Pictures of the bed before and after destruction and the mangled signs are attached. And that is from Robin Parsons, Beverly Skiles, and Ron Walters. And that's the only letter we have for this evening for public comment. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Stacy. Just to kind of bring everybody up to speed on that, I had the opportunity to meet at the park today with representatives of the University of New Haven and with representatives of the contractor and subsequently with Councilwoman Hamilton. So the University of New Haven has donated the service to the Brentwood Park, put electrical service in there. They received a permit from the city and a service was placed. It clearly was not the ideal place for a service. Again, I met with them this morning. They're going to relocate the service to the perimeter of the park. I walked it with Councilwoman Hamilton, and also any of the beds that were disturbed based on the trenching for the electrical service will be restored, and that will all be obviously costs borne by the contractor. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that. All right, so if we have nothing else for public session, we will enter our regular council meeting. First order on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of November 9, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilwoman Bruno, is there a second? Second, Councilman Donovan, Councilman Cohen. Any discussion on the minutes? Councilman Cohen?
Yes, I wanted to make one correction to the minutes, or a motion to make an amendment to the minutes. On page 3, the sentence that starts with Councilman Cohen asked for the city to reconsider allowing the Chamber of Commerce employee 1 access to the chamber office in the city. I'd like the following sentence added. Corporation Counsel said he would, quote, figure out a solution that everyone is happy with before the next meeting.
Councilman Cohen's made that amendment to the minutes. Is there a second? Councilwoman O'Connor. Is there any discussion on that amendment? Seeing none, show of hands, all in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye. Is there anybody opposed to that amendment? Any abstentions to the amendment? The amendment passes. That's incorporated into the regular minutes. I do have one grammatical that I don't think I need a motion for on page 2 under Council Liaison reports from Councilwoman Johnston. The last sentence says the high school is mobbing to remote learning. It should be moving to remote learning. So we'll include that in the correction as well. Are there any more discussion on these minutes? Councilwoman Johnston.
This could just be ignorance on my part, but on page 3, that Councilman Massaro's was approved unanimously viva voice. Is that something I don't know about, or should that be via voice?
I don't think that belongs there, to be honest with you. I think that needs to be removed. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, that's under new business. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. So that's a good catch. So that sentence should be stricken from the minutes. Anything else? Not seeing any other hands raised, I'll move the question. All in favor as amended, signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, those minutes are approved. If I could ask the clerk to please pass out tonight's communications.
Okay, we have before us Communication A from Commissioner McCarthy of Public Works in regards to utility poles being assigned to the Public Works Committee, Chairman Cohen. And we have Communication B from Chief of Police Joseph Perno in regards to animal shelter donations being assigned to the Finance Committee, Chairwoman Hosky. And we have before us Communication C from Interim Grants Writer Doug Coulter in regards to an emergency management grant being assigned to the Finance Committee, Chairwoman Hosky. And that is all the communications we have this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Stacy. We will recess into committee meetings. The first committee is the Finance Committee, Councilwoman Hosky.
Thank you, Chairman. The time is now 7:13. The Committee on Finance is in session. Members present are Councilwoman Hamilton, Councilman Cohen, Massaro, and Bruno, and with myself acting as chair. We have before us this evening Communication B is the West Haven Police Department donations, and they're totaling $535 for the animal shelter. I'd like to have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'm sorry, Stacy, did you want me to say who that was? Because I normally do, right? But I didn't this evening. It was Councilwoman Hamilton.
And Bruno, right?
Yes.
Yes, I got it. Thanks, though.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We also have before us Communication C. From Interim Grants Writer Doug Coulter in regards to the Emergency Management Grant. I'd like to bring this out favorably to have a motion to approve. Thank you, Councilman Cohen. Have a second?
Second.
Councilman Hamilton, thank you. Is there any discussion? Councilman Cohen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had the opportunity today to speak with Doug as well as Joe Soto, and I would like to first of all thank Joe Soto for really catching what I believe was either an oversight or error for many years on this. This is when I looked at this application, it was for full year 2020, and it came to my attention. I'm thinking to myself, well, 2020 is almost done. You know, is this a reimbursement? And I found out that yes, this is a reimbursement. The reimbursements are usually done by the state because of their calendar year every September. And they said, well, they're holding it for us because we never submitted in past years. And I said, what do you mean? They said, you're going to, meaning the council, will be getting some additional, they're doing the due diligence now, the department. And I thank Joe and I thank Doug Coulter for this, that this is really a reimbursement for their work, if you will. It's like basic 101, you know, get paid for your work. You know, they reimburse basically Joe Soto's salary along with some of the time. And all we have is time with people like Doug Coulter, who's wearing a couple of hats. So this is a very, very important reimbursement that we get from the state. And this was not done, and it concerns me. I'm thankful for this, but it very much concerns me, as I'm sure it did the administration and everyone, that there will be before us for the years 2017-2018 fiscal year, 2018-2019, and 2019-2020. So they're going to be giving us paperwork for the 3 years prior. Currently, right now, they're not able to recoup or attempt to recoup the prior year or years, and that was unclear to me. But again, great job and I want to be transparent here because I know we all want to be transparent in the sense being that this was, for whatever reason, a mistake, an oversight, or whatever, but the work is being done so that a city like ours that is in Marb, we always look for and we do the best we can to get every penny that's ours. And this was something that I'm glad that Joe caught and that Doug has been working with him closely on. So, Madam Chair and all my fellow council people, I do thank him, and I did call Joe personally to thank him for this. Thank you. That's it.
Anyone else? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, and your Committee on Finance closes at 7:18, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hosky. Next committee is the Public Works Committee, Councilman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The time is now 7:18, and the Public Works Committee is now in session. With me this evening is Councilman Massaro, Councilman Donovan, Councilwoman McGee, and Councilman Bruno, and myself acting as chair. We have before us a request by Commissioner Tom McCarthy of Public Works. He's respectfully requesting consideration for the following UI poles to have street lights added. UI number 968, which is on Main Street, UI number 2826, which is off of Forest Road. And finally, he's also asking that we request consideration for the Light the Night light on UI pole number 2566, which is basically located in the front left corner of Brentwatt Park. I would like to bring this out favorably. Do I have a motion? Gary Donovan is the first motion. Do I have a second? Second is Robert Bruno. Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? The only thing that I would like to add, I'm sorry, was there a discussion? Peter, was that you? I apologize, please.
Yeah, the pole that's off of Forest Road that Mike DeMassa and myself have been working on for a long time, since July. I felt very bad for the lady because her car got broken into a couple of times, and it was very dark, and then it's more of a dead end street, and it's at the end of Spruce Street, which is in back of Forest Road. And I checked it out, and it is very, very dark in that area. And she's told me she's going to have kids driving pretty soon, and they're going to be coming home. And she was kind of scared for her kids coming in the pitch dark, and there's no light at that end of that street. And theoretically, there's a private driveway down there that runs off there, and you don't see it. You're going to go right off down Forest Road, right down the embankment. So it'd be a very, very, very big plus for somebody to have something to have happen there if we didn't have any lighting there. So it's a good thing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Massaro. Any other discussion? Yeah, I was just basically going to say that the one on Forest Road, which is actually on Spruce, is obviously a safety concern, as is the one, as I understand, from Brentwatt Park. And finally, to be totally transparent this evening, I try to get an answer, and if anyone knows, please speak up. I'm not sure where the one on Main Street is to be put. I did place a couple of calls, but I do trust that it is needed based on Tom McCarthy's note to us. So I did not want to hold this whole thing this evening, so thus I am sending this out favorably. Is there any more discussion? I will now close discussion. Those in favor, please raise your hand. Against? Abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And the Public Works Committee is now closed at 7:21. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Cohen. Next up is unfinished business. There is none. We will convene now as a council for committee reports. The first committee is the Finance Committee. Councilwoman Hosky.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry. To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of the animal shelter donation, reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of November 2020 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved that the following donation to the Department of Police Service be approved and deposited into line item 1010000028285 animal shelter donations. Charles Gunning, $10, and Dozerwowski, $25. Carol Rapuno, $25. Nancy Vaughn, $50. Julia Williams, $100. Angela Russo, $100. Patrick Kelly, $150. Lois Dorr, $25. And Joanne Jr., $50.
Councilwoman Hoskins brought forward Communication B from Chief of Police Joseph Perno in regards to animal shelter donations, as was read into the record. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bruno, Councilwoman O'Connor. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, that communication passes unanimously.
To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of an emergency management grant, reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of November 2020 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous decision, unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved that the City of West Haven may enter into and deliver to the State of Connecticut Department. My animals, I'm sorry. Department of Emergency Services and Public, I'm going to start again. Resolved that the City of West Haven may enter into and deliver to the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security and any and all documents which deems to be necessary and appropriate, and further resolve that Nancy Rossi, as mayor of the City of West Haven, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents on behalf of the City of West Haven to do and perform all acts and things which deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents.
Councilwoman Hoskins brought forward Communication C from interim grants writer Doug Coulter in regards to an emergency management grant. Is there a second? Second, Councilman Massaro, Councilman Cohen, Councilman Bruno. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, communication passes unanimously.
And that's all we got from the finance.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hosky. Next committee is the Public Works Committee. Councilman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Public Works, to whom was referred to the matter of utility poles, reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of November 2020 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the submitted request from the Commissioner of Public Works to establish UI lights on the following poles. UI number 968 at Main Street, UI number 2826 off Forest Road. Further, the council authorizes the commissioner to increase the lighting on UI pole number 2566 at Watt Park.
Councilman Collins brought forward Communication A from Commissioner Tom McCarthy from Public Works in regards to utility poles. Is there a second? Second, Councilman Galagnano, Massaro, Donovan, Bruno. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Any abstention? And that communication passes unanimously. Adoption of ordinances previously presented. There are none. Do we have any council liaison reports this evening? Councilwoman Hamilton.
Hi, I just wanted to tell you that I attended a very nice reception and swearing in for Allentown Chief Michael Terenzo. Like I said, it was a small, intimate, welcoming. The mayor did also thank and give appreciation to Michael Esposito and to Chief Michael Esposito and Chief Peter Massaro. So we are official now, and it feels good. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hamilton. Councilwoman O'Connor?
At the last meeting, I think we finally decided that December 1st was going to be the day that we hold the meeting for the library. So I have the link already. Colleen sent it to me, so I will send it out either tonight or tomorrow morning for everyone that wants to attend. And again, I think this is really important so that the survey people get our side of the story as well as the libraries.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Connor, and we'll put the official meeting notice out tomorrow. Any other council liaison reports? Councilwoman Finelli.
Thank you, Chairman. I know some people had some concerns about the trees being removed on the green. And I'd like to thank Councilwoman Hosky because she began looking into it immediately on Friday when the issue came up. And so if there's anything you want to add in, Bridget, feel free to chime in. I did contact the tree warden and the tree commission. The warden told me that Public Works had requested to remove the trees because of some concerns with them. However, if anyone from the public has any issue with it, you can put it in writing and send it into Public Works before or by this Friday, November 27th. He said they're not going to be removed until after Christmas. And also the chairman of the tree commission has said that the tree commission hasn't received any communication regarding the removal, although it is something that they had discussed in the past because the trees are planted too closely together. And so they won't survive, and to dig them up and replant them somewhere else would be costly and probably not successful. And also the chairman of the tree commission said the emails, and on Facebook, people had complained that they had emailed the tree commission and hadn't received a response, but they don't have access to that email. I was hoping the mayor would be on here still to see if she can help them out with that. But so if anyone hasn't received a response, that's why. And Chairwoman Hosky, is there anything else that you wanted to add in regard to that?
No, I think just like you said, it's important that if the residents are against the trees coming down, that they follow the appropriate procedure to get those letters in, because anything else is not going to be effective. So that's it.
Thank you.
Any other council liaison reports? Okay, seeing none. New business. Councilwoman Hosky.
I would like to suggest that the council send a thank you letter to the University of New Haven for having set up the Brett Watt Park with electricity to show our appreciation for what they did. I don't know if we have a fund for thank you cards, but I'll chip in $1.99 at CVS or a letter, whichever. But I think it's important that they know that we appreciate them. Because they didn't have to do that.
So noted. Thank you, Councilwoman Hosky. Is there any other new business? Councilwoman McGee.
Thank you. On Wednesday, the December 2nd, which is next Wednesday, the Community Alliance of West Haven will be hosting a special meeting in regards to the resolution to declare racism a public health crisis. This meeting will be at Gateway Christian Fellowship Church, I believe it's called, and it's on 129 Bull Hill Lane. We ask that, even with it being minimally open to the public, of course, that people wear masks. Temperature checks will be done at the door, but we are hoping for a great turnout next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman McGee. Is there any other new business? Councilwoman O'Connor.
I just wanted to thank Chief Perno. Last Wednesday, I went on one of the police ride-alongs. Not only was it very educational, but I got to see our officers in the line of duty and see what they put up with their jobs. I just wanted to highly recommend it for everybody else on the council. That's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Connor. Any other new business? Councilman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of things. I would like to ask if the council would write a letter to Corporation Counsel Turnin requesting an update as to, quote unquote, to figure out a solution regarding the Chamber of Commerce office space. As he said, it's not about solving problems. It's not about saying why we can't. So he had said he was going to have something before us or before some of us before the next meeting. And since at least I haven't received anything, I was hoping that we could send him a communication requesting an update on this.
I can update it now, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, please do, Counselor.
So as far as I know, I thought that was resolved, at least temporarily, until we get some resolution on the virus, where Mr. Olnick came and picked up the necessary equipment so he can provide Chamber of Commerce services from either his home or a satellite place. So he did pick up the necessary equipment from City Hall to do that.
Thank you.
That was last week.
I didn't know. Thank you.
We saved a piece of paper.
No, I apologize. I just figured it would. I guess I figured it would. I don't know. Somehow magically, word of mouth. I guess that would get out. I'll get better at that and communicating back. I apologize, Councilor Cohen.
And I just had no problem, Lee. I didn't know you were on the call, to be honest with you. I didn't see you there. But while you're on the call, Mr. Chair, if I may have a second item.
Yes.
Lee, I don't know if you can respond to this. I don't believe the mayor's on the line right now, but I did not see anything via a news release or on city notes or any other media beyond on, I have dated here November 10th on the West Haven City Hall Facebook page. There was an announcement made by our Commissioner of Public Works informing West Haven residents that due to the COVID-19 pandemic and limited staff members, the Department of Public Works is providing limited services until further notice. It goes on, but when I first read that, it very much struck me because I know that we've been working with a very limited crew for many months and that COVID's been around for many months. I had heard and I had seen, I talked to some constituents where if you're privy, or if you know anything, Lee, that you can share with us now regarding any concerns with Public Works as regards the COVID-19 pandemic, and is there anything that you might be able to share with us?
Well, I mean, the only thing I could tell you generically is that, the men and women who work in public work opportunities and given the same protections as every other worker, considering what duties they have. So, in the city, we have certain workers like dispatchers and police officers and firefighters and the sewer department who are 24/7 workers. But nonetheless, if somebody is test positive or somebody has contact with somebody who tests positive, we ensure that there's safety precautions, but yet those departments have to keep on going. The Public Works Department has certain, we expect them, for instance, to clean City Hall on Fridays so that the people come in on Monday and have a safe, clean area to come in and we keep the virus down. But nonetheless, they're like anyone else. So there wasn't, probably since this started, there was an increase in the number of Public Works employees who, I don't know that there were any that necessarily were symptomatic, but at least some tested positive. And so we used caution and, we do have discussions with the employees, based on their level of safety too. In some respects, we do have an older workforce, so we have to be cautious about that as well. It just happened that a collection of events occurred where we had an increased spike in the number of people that were out for various reasons related to COVID. So, I mean, there might have been a couple of people that had scheduled vacations as well at that time, but nonetheless, we did get through it, and the Public Works Department should be getting back up to a staffing level that is more in line with the needs of the city.
Well, let me
yeah,
ask.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
and it happened, so I think the commissioner dealt with it the best way he could.
No, I just asked him because there has been some rumors and stuff like that, and I want to just bring it out so that we're all transparent here. There was a number of services that I know that a number of us here asked for that we know that there was limited crew and so forth, but they were a little slower than usual. So there was a rumor, and again, not unlike other towns, as you probably know, and as recent as last week in East Haven, there were 9 Public Works employees out after being tested positive for COVID because there was some self-quarantining in East Haven, and the town was extremely forthcoming with that, and it was published in newspapers and it was on their website so that the public knew that there was going to be a slowdown or a slight interruption, that they would actually anticipate no interruption in services. So I'm going to say, based on your comments, that there might have been some people exposed to COVID, but I guess that there was no, so that we can eliminate any type of myths or rumors, that there was no quarantining of our employees. If one person got it, that there was maybe a whole crew that had a quarantine for the week. None of that is true, correct?
I don't know if there are any particular individuals that either I mean, look, if someone has COVID or someone tests positive, contact tracing takes place. So, questions would come up. Were you in a truck? Were you sitting in a truck with somebody? Were you working together with somebody? How close the contact was? And the contact tracing is pretty intensive. That goes on. And when you conclude that, you discuss with the employee, what their comfort level is as to whether or not they'll work. I mean, we don't force someone to work if they have a legitimate reason to be fearful of working, or if they want to exercise their right to be out. I'm not aware of specific employees, but if anybody quarantined, it was because we were following CDC guidelines.
Understood. I'm just basically saying was there a large number of people that quarantined at one time is really my question. Because it just seemed very strange to a number of us that we had something just posted on a Facebook page, and it was posted or not said anywhere else, and there was people that basically called City Hall if they could stop by to get even like a recycle bin or stop by, and nothing like that could be done even if they wanted to pick it up. There were people I know that had other services that they were expecting over a 2-week range, or at least to be contacted, and they weren't. And so, people basically, and that's why I'm asking, so that we are all transparent, that if indeed there was a quarantine, people are understanding of that. Obviously, it seems to me, and again, I'm just reading the tea leaves here, that there was a substantial number of people that needed to be out. Otherwise, we wouldn't have posted that announcement after being in COVID for, at that point, like about 8 months, and then all of a sudden this is posted. And it just seems to me that if there was something more substantial, that perhaps the city could be more forthcoming with that. And so, again, I will take you that, yes, we can't force anyone to work or not work, and that wasn't my question. My question basically is exactly what I said.
There were more public works put out in the last 2 weeks than since COVID began.
Okay.
Not every worker was out because of COVID. There might have been other reasons why, workers get hurt. They could be out for comp. Workers can have scheduled vacation time that they have to take because under the city's rules, if you don't use your vacation, you lose it.
Excuse me. The posting was specific to COVID, not those issues. The posting was specific to the limited work crew because of COVID, and that's why I'm asking the question. I understand people get sick, they have vacation. I get that. I just want to make sure that we as a city are being transparent. Thank you.
I'm trying to be transparent, So every employee who was out, it wasn't necessarily related to COVID. At any given time, Public Works employees could be out. I said at the beginning of this that it was the largest number of Public Works employees that have been out at one time since COVID began. That is true. But it is not true to say that every employee out of Public Works during that period was out necessarily because of COVID. But yes, I thought I said at the beginning of this that there was an abnormally high number of people who were out either because they felt nervous because they had contact with somebody who tested positive and they wanted to be overly cautious, or because of their age or whatever reason. But there were probably other employees who were out because they might have got hurt on the job, they were out for workers' comp reasons, or they might have been out because they took vacation. So if you combine all those forces, there was the highest number. But I'm not going to say that every employee who was out was not because of COVID. So, but yes, it was the highest number since we started. It appears the Public Works Department has gotten through this, and they're going to be back closer to a normal service quotient for city residents.
Thank you.
You all set, Councilman Cohen?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Any other new business? If not, I do have just two things. Everyone in their package should have received the 2021 calendar for next year. It looks to be accurate. Just again, take a look at it to familiarize yourselves with the meetings for 2021. Hopefully, some of those meetings will actually get to see one another in person. Also, I had the opportunity this past weekend to walk the Beach Street project. You know, they're doing phase one of the elevation and restoration project of Beach Street. I would encourage, I know it's not everyone's district, but it's a significant project that the city is undertaking, specifically phase 1, 2, and 3. And I think it'd be good if everybody saw what the project is going to eventually turn to be. Clearly, it's going to help our flooding issues down the shoreline. However, I think it's important that we balance our flood mitigation with our preservation of the aesthetics, you know, and the accessibility of the shoreline. And I also noticed that shout out to Public Works and to the engineer Abdul for spending some money to clear some of the invasives around Oldfield Creek. It really, really looks nice. You could see the creek and the osprey and the nesting right from the road. So I think it's one of those little hidden West Haven treasures that I suggest everybody take a look at if they have an opportunity. That being said, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. From Councilwoman Hosky, seconded by Councilman Massaro. We are adjourned. I wish you all a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Bye, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.